The news just in is that Governor Fubara of Rivers State has reconciled with his political godfather, Nyesom Wike, former governor of Rivers State and current minister of the FCT. He has also reconciled with Martin Zameule, the speaker, and members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Interesting moment, I must say. Not many people saw it coming this soon. So it's an interesting moment, and for me, it is congratulations to them. But there are many questions. What is the way forward? Is a settlement in the best interest of the people of Rivers? How will the settlement affect the cases in court? And many more questions. But before we proceed, let's listen to Nyesom Wike himself and also the governor as they addressed the press.
All agreed to work together with the governor, and the governor also agreed to work together with all of us who are members of the same political family. Yes, just like humans, you have a disagreement, and then you also have a time to also settle your disagreement, and that has been finally concluded today, and we've come to report to Mr. President that is what we have agreed. So for me, everything is over, and enjoy everybody who believe to work with us to also work together with everybody. That there's no more acrimony, there's nothing to say we're disagreeing. We have all agreed on everything. So we thank God. For me, it's a day we have to thank Almighty God.
So we also hear the governor.
For me, it's very important that this day has come to be. What we need for the progress of Rivers State is peace. And by the special grace of God this night, with the help of Mr. President and the agreement of the leaders of the states, including our leader, peace has returned in Rivers State. We'll do everything within our power to make sure that we sustain it this time around.
So you heard it there from the principal personalities in the River State issue, the River State story, okay, political story. So politics, they say, is a game of interest. We've been hearing that. So for me, these gentlemen, they have aligned their interests. They have agreed on certain terms. And for them, it is time to come together and then continue in governance. Kudos to them all. It is good to be in peace. I go to Rivers State from time to time to do cases in their courts from my state, and Rivers is not far from my state. And so peace in Rivers is peace for the entire Niger Delta region and peace for Nigeria. And I encourage them to maintain this peace. So kudos to them once again. But let's look at the legal questions. Let's look at the legal questions. And there are many legal questions, right? What will now happen to the cases that were filed in courts by interested persons? What will happen? Now, here is the question. Here is the answer. If the parties have settled their differences, and Fubara says bygones should be bygones, then that's the end of those matters. They have to be withdrawn, right? This is because the main person affected, the main person that ought to be aggrieved, says, I am no more aggrieved. I am not asking questions anymore. I'm satisfied with the current situation, the current status, and so be it. That would mean that the course of action in the matter is gone. Once the course of action in a matter is gone, the matter becomes academic. The matter becomes hypothetical. And courts of law have no business attending to academic matters. Courts only attend to life issues, not academic issues, not theory. Matters that are to be determined by the court must be matters that will give effect to whatever will be the pronouncement of the courts, right? So where the parties have already settled their matters, the matter becomes academic and deserves to be withdrawn. Because like I said, courts do not address academic matters. Courts do not entertain academic matters. Courts only entertain life issues properly presented to the court. Remember that the governors of the PDP had gone to the Supreme Court following the declaration of the state of emergency. They went to challenge the powers of the president to declare a state of emergency against one of their own. Here is the governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Moino. At the time, he was a member of the PDP, so he was part of the governors that went to the courts. Here is the governor of Delta State, Governor Boruwei. Okay, at that time, he was also a member of the PDP, and then he joined his colleagues here. These are other governors of the PDP. Bala Mohammed here, Muftwang of Plateau State. I've also seen Makinde here, and other governors. They went to the Supreme Court to challenge the powers of the president to declare a state of emergency. Now that these parties have settled, what will be the position? Now, what will happen to that case at the Supreme Court? As at now, the suit will also have to go. Why? Because if Fubara, the man in whose interest the suit was commenced at the Supreme Court, says, I'm no more interested. I mean, I have decided to let bygones to be bygones. Let the past be in the past. It therefore means that these people cannot cry more than the bereaved. You cannot cry more than the bereaved. And for that reason, the governors will have to call their lawyers and instruct them to withdraw the suit completely from the Supreme Court. Now, it should be stated that courts will always encourage amicable settlement. You see the courts here? Will always encourage amicable settlement. There is no court that will insist on the prosecution of a matter that parties have settled. In the River State matter, from what you have seen from that video, the parties have settled. And therefore, these courts, this judge, my lord here, will not insist that the matters should go on. Whether you stand up and give a reason for withdrawing or you don't give a reason, the court will always allow parties to withdraw matters once they have, settled. Now, the other question, there are many other bigger questions, right? One, what happens to the budget that has just been presented at the National Assembly? Remember, it was the president of the country that forwarded that budget to the National Assembly for River State. I think 1.8 trillion naira. What happens to it now that parties have settled their differences? What will be the status of Uncle Ibas? Right? What will be the status of this retired Navy commander, Navy general? What will be his status following this reconciliation? And how soon will Fubara return to office? Parties have settled their differences. The president said the suspension is for 6 months. Is the president still going to keep the suspension for 6 months despite the settlement of the grievances by Fubara, yes, on Wike, and all other persons as we saw them in the videos? Videos don't lie, right? So the question is, how soon will Fubara return to office? Number 4, what will happen to the electoral committee that has just been approved by the Senate for River State, where you have a Cross River State man as the chairman of the electoral committee? What happens to that committee? Is Fubara expected to return to office and work with that committee? Right? Is that committee going to stay beyond the tenure of Ibas? The days ahead will reveal more. Certainly the days ahead will reveal more. We wish River State the best, and I thank you all for watching. Do remember to subscribe to the channel and to also share. Many thanks.